Good morning, cadets. Let us uh, understand one more application of Gauss law, that is to find the electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell. Electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell. Consider this is a thin spherical shell which is uniformly charged on its surface. Uniformly charged on its surface with charge density sigma. Let sigma be the surface charge density. And this thin spherical shell is of radius capital R. Due to such charge density, we want to find out electric field. Electric field at a point outside the shell at a distance, let us say small r. We want to find out electric field at a distance small r outside this shell first. Then later we will find out what is the electric field inside the shell. Okay. Now consider a thin spherical shell of radius capital R, which is uniformly charged. On its outer surface with surface charge density sigma. As we defined earlier, surface charge density means charge per unit area, right? Now, if we assume total charge on this surface is Q, then the surface area of this spherical shell is 4 pi r square. So, sigma is equal to Q upon 4 pi r square. Charge density sigma is equal to Q upon 4 pi r square, because the surface area of the spherical shell is 4 pi r square, where r is the radius of this shell. But our task is to find electric field at a point outside the shell. So first we will find out field outside the shell, outside the charged shell. So consider a point P. Let O be the center. Consider point P at a distance r outside the shell. Let P be a point outside the shell, outside the shell at a distance small r, outside the shell at a distance small r, such that r is greater than capital R, such that r is greater than capital R, where capital R is the radius of this shell. Now, to find the electric field at a point outside the shell, we need to construct a Gaussian sphere of radius small r. Construct a Gaussian sphere of radius small r, such that this small r is greater than capital R, so that this Gaussian sphere includes the point P where we would like to find out electric field. And this Gaussian sphere encloses the entire spherical shell of charge density sigma. So, we have taken shell of positive charge density. Let P be a point outside the shell at a distance r. So, r is such that it is greater than r. So that once we take this spherical shell, we can apply Gauss law. And look at this, at every point on the outside, at every point on this shell, for example, electric field is pointing radially outwards. Electric field is pointing radially outwards. So if you take a small elementary area of this shell, here area vector as well as the electric field vector are in the same direction. Area vector and electric field vector are in the same direction, because area vector is also normal to this and electric field vector is also in the same direction, because electric field is always radially outwards. Thinking that there is a point charge here, the electric field due to point charge is always radially outwards. Okay. So everywhere, if you just think a small area ds of this Gaussian sphere, the electric field is radially outwards with the same value, because it is at a distance small r, and area vector and electric field vector are in the same direction. Area vector and electric field vector are parallel to each other, so that the angle cos theta becomes cos 0, cos 0 is 1. So that we can very easily apply Gauss law. Now we will write, construct a Gaussian sphere of radius small r such that small r is greater than capital R, which includes the point P, and apply Gauss law. Applying Gauss law to this constructed Gaussian sphere. So according to Gauss law, surface integral of E dot ds. So this gives you total flux. The total outward flux is equal to the charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed. We know what is the charge enclosed from the surface charge density. Here, charge enclosed Q is equal to sigma into 4 pi r square. From this you can see the charge enclosed by this entire Gaussian sphere is this entire charge Q. So this charge Q, we don't know how much it is, but we know charge density sigma and we know the radius of the shell. Therefore, charge enclosed Q is equal to charge density multiplied by surface area. So sigma into 4 pi r square, sigma into 4 pi r square. So that we can substitute here sigma into 4 pi r square. Now we can calculate what is the integral of E dot ds. As I said, when you take the entire Gaussian sphere, at every elementary area, the area vector and electric field vector are in the same direction. So the cos of angle theta between them is cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. So we can directly write here left hand side. So this becomes E into integral of ds, because the angle between the ds, you take any small area as ds vector and E vector are in the same direction. So E ds cos 0 becomes E ds. So next step, I am taking E outside, integral of ds for the entire enclosed surface. So it is called surface integral for the closed surface, that is Gaussian sphere here, is equal to Q. Q is sigma into 4 pi r square, sigma into 4 pi capital R square divided by epsilon naught. Now this integral of ds taken over the complete sphere, you see it gives you the summation of all such small ds for the entire sphere. That gives you total area of the sphere, the total area of the Gaussian sphere. So total area of the Gaussian sphere is 4 pi small r square. So E into 4 pi small r square. This gives you area of the Gaussian sphere of radius small r is equal to sigma into 4 pi capital R square upon epsilon naught. Now 4 pi cancels. So thus we can write, therefore this implies electric field is equal to 4 pi cancels. We can write now sigma into R square divided by epsilon naught into small r square, epsilon naught into small r square. Here capital R is the radius of the spherical shell, radius of this given spherical shell. So this is fixed, capital R is constant. So only variable is small r. So electric field is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Electric field is inversely proportional to square of the distance. That is evident from this equation. So if you write it in the vector form, it becomes vector E is equal to sigma r square upon epsilon naught r square into r cap, where r cap is the unit vector along radius vector. So if you take this one as radius vector, the unit vector along radius vector can be taken as r cap. At every point, the electric field is radially outwards. It acts along the radius vector, acting vertically, radially outwards. Thus we can write electric field acts radially outwards, radially outwards. Now if you substitute the value of sigma here, we get a very interesting equation. We know that sigma is equal to q upon 4 pi r square, where q is the total charge enclosed by this spherical shell. So if you substitute this sigma value, then E becomes equal to sigma q upon 4 pi r square, q upon 4 pi capital R square, capital R square into epsilon naught small r square in the denominator, capital R square in the numerator, r cap. Now you can see the capital R square cancels. So leaving behind a simple equation, that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square into r cap. This is the very interesting equation. So this states that again electric field is radially outwards, and you see it is inversely proportional to square of the distance. As distance increases, the electric field keeps on decreasing. So it obeys inverse square distance relation. Electric field depends on inverse square distance, inverse square dependence of distance. Okay. So thus I can write E is inversely proportional to r square, and E is directly proportional to sigma. These are the two things. You see from here, E is directly proportional to sigma. More the charge density, more is the electric field, right? So E is directly proportional to sigma, E is inversely proportional to square of the distance. And you see this equation, if you look at it, is it not the electric field which we obtained using Coulomb's law? So Gauss law is a consequence of Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law and Gauss law are almost giving you the same result as far as spherical symmetry of charge is concerned. You see, this is the spherical symmetry of charge. Charge is uniformly distributed on the sphere on its surface. So this is the electric field outside the shell. So to conclude here, and when you look at it, this final equation, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square into r cap, this implies that electric field is directly proportional to the charge enclosed. And you see the distance is measured from the center of this spherical shell to that point P under consideration. Is it not that it assumes as if the entire charge which is there on the surface is present or concentrated at the center? So, electric field acts as if the entire charge which is distributed on the surface is assumed to be concentrated at the center as a point charge, and we are finding out the electric field at this distance r, right. Therefore, we can conclude electric field is assumed to be as if electric field is calculated as if the entire charge is assumed to be concentrated at the center. E is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square into r cap. If you look at this equation tells you about electric field due to surface charge density E equal to sigma r square upon epsilon naught r square into r cap. So, this is the equation in terms of charge density, and here it is in terms of actual charge. So, the entire charge which is present on the surface of this spherical shell assumed to be concentrated at the center, and we are going to find out electric field at a point outside the shell at a distance, let us say r, which is greater than capital R, and thus we will be able to calculate by simply using this Coulomb's law. So, we obtained Coulomb's law using Gauss law in this case of finding the uniform electric field or finding the electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell. So, electric field is not uniform, electric field is radially outwards, but at every point on this Gaussian sphere, electric field is constant and it is radially outwards. So, you can say electric field acts radially outwards. Okay, this is the conclusion. Now, in the second case, let us find out the electric field inside the shell. What happens to the electric field inside the shell at the small distance, let us say r, inside the shell? Let us find out. Okay, field outside the shell we got it as electric field outside the shell we got it as E is equal to sigma r square upon epsilon naught times small r square, right. So, which we got it as finally E equal to, this is r cap. R cap is nothing but multiplying with just unit vector of magnitude 1, right. E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square, small r square into r cap, right. Now, what happens on the shell? What happens to the electric field on the shell? Let us first find out. Electric field on the surface. This is interesting. On the shell surface, you see the distance small r becomes equal to capital R. Here, small r becomes equal to capital R. When small r becomes equal to capital R, very interesting thing takes place. Just substitute here. We get E equal to sigma r square divided by epsilon naught times r square. Small r square becomes capital R square. So, r square cancels. We get sigma upon epsilon naught. Very interesting equation, sigma upon epsilon naught. So, electric field is constant at every point on this surface, and it is just dependent on the charge density, and you can write unit vector r cap. So, this is radially outwards, radially outwards. So, if you write in terms of charge, same thing. If you write in terms of charge, you see small r becomes capital R, that is it. 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon capital R square into r cap. It acts as if the entire charge is present at the center and the electric field is acting on the surface of this shell and it is radially outwards. Everywhere the electric field is radially outwards like this. So everywhere electric field is radially outwards. So this is interesting equation, sigma upon epsilon naught into unit vector r, right? Now in the same way we can derive now electric field inside the shell. Field inside the shell, inside the spherical shell. Let us say at a distance r which is now less than capital R. The distance r is now less than capital R. So we will construct a Gaussian sphere of radius small r. Let us say the point now here is at a distance, let us say OP. Now this distance is small r such that this small r is less than capital R. Now in order to find out electric field here, we need to construct a small Gaussian sphere, which includes this point P, right? And we can find out the electric field at this point P. Now let us take this point P as P dash, because P we already taken outside. Let us say that P dash is inside the shell. So to find the field inside the spherical shell of radius r, consider point P dash at distance r less than r dash, distance r less than r dash inside the shell, right? Now again we will follow the same procedure, construct Gaussian sphere of radius r such that less than r, and apply Gauss law. So when you apply Gauss law, you will get the result. Apply Gauss law. So when you apply Gauss law, you see total outward normal flux E dot ds left hand side is equal to q upon epsilon naught according to the statement. But look at this interior Gaussian sphere of radius small r which is now constructed. What is the charge enclosed by this Gaussian sphere? The charge enclosed by this Gaussian sphere is 0. So here charge enclosed by Gaussian sphere q is equal to 0. So when q is equal to 0, definitely we get right hand side of this equation equal to 0. Therefore E dot ds, even if you take E outside and take ds, E dot ds is equal to 0. This implies electric field E is 0 inside the spherical shell. So electric field is 0 inside the spherical shell. So at everywhere inside the shell, at every point inside the shell, electric field is 0. This is very interesting result. Therefore, non-zero electric field exists only outside the shell and on the surface of the shell. So electric field is 0 inside the shell. So this is how we calculate and conclude. Therefore, electric field is 0 inside the shell, which implies, I can write here, E is 0 when R is less than capital R. This is first. Then second, E is a non-zero equal to sigma R square upon small r square, sigma R square upon epsilon naught sigma R square upon epsilon naught R square when R is greater than R. Then third point is E is equal to sigma upon epsilon naught when R is equal to capital R. So, in this way we conclude the discussion on finding the electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell. So, this last effect, the last result, the electric field inside the charged shell is 0. Even if it is a uniformly charged conductor also, electric field is 0 inside the shell or 0 inside the charged spherical conductor. The main reason is there is no charge inside. It does not include any charge. No charge is present inside the shell. Therefore, electric field is 0. This is very important consequence which we are going to see its application later. There where we are going to study electrostatic shielding. We learn electrostatic shielding, right? That we will learn it later. Now we will solve one simple problem. Now let us look into this interesting problem. A uniformly charged sphere of 2.4 diameter. It has a diameter of 2.4 meter, 2.4 meter diameter. It has a surface charge density 80 microcoulomb per meter square. Find the charge on the sphere. Charge density is given, diameter is given, we can find out the charge on the sphere. Second one, what is the electric flux leaving the surface of the sphere? By applying Gauss law, we can calculate the electric flux. So, it is very interesting problem. So, charge density is given, diameter is given. Diameter is equal to 2r, 2 times the radius is equal to 2.4 meter. Therefore, radius r is equal to 2.4 divided by 2, 1.2 meter. So, radius we got. So, charge density is given. We know that charge density is equal to charge divided by surface area. Surface area of the sphere is 4 pi r square. It is uniformly charged with the surface charge density 80 microcoulomb per meter square. So, that gives us charge. Therefore, charge Q is equal to sigma into 4 pi r square. So, if you just substitute 80 microcoulomb per meter square, 80 into 10 raised to minus 6 microcoulomb into 4 pi, 4 into 3.14 into r square. R square it is 1.2 whole square. 1.2 whole square. So, if you simplify this, we get an interesting result. Q is equal to the value is going to be 1.45. You take the multiplication of 80 with 4 and 3.14. It is going to be 12.28. 12 point. So, one more step you can write 80 into 4 4s are 16, carry 1, 4 1s are 4, plus 1 5, 12.56, 4 3s are 12, 12.56 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into square of 1.22. So, that becomes 1.44. 1.44. So, if you multiply this, you are going to get 1.45 into 10 raised to minus 3 coulomb. So, this is the result. Q is equal to 1.45 into 10 raised to minus 3 coulomb. That is the charge. So once we calculate the charge, second thing is to calculate the flux. Flux, see, the flux will be radially outwards due to radial electric field lines. So total flux, how do you calculate? This is the total flux, radially outward flux. The flux leaving the surface, total outward normal flux, if you just call it as flux, phi is equal to Q by epsilon naught. We already got Q, 1.45 into 10 raised to minus 3 divided by epsilon naught, 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12. So if you calculate this, you are going to get the flux, which is 1.6 into 10 raised to 8 Newton meter square per coulomb. Newton meter square per coulomb. This is how you need to calculate using the Gauss law and the knowledge of surface charge density. Okay. Now, I suggest you to solve the problems from exercise. So, the exercise problems are very simple, and if you just remember the equations, if you just remember the results, if you remember the formulae, you will be very easily able to calculate the numerical problems. So, solve the numerical problems from this first topic, that is charges at rest, so that we will go to the next topic, that is electric potential and potential energy and capacitance. That is going to be the second chapter. So, second chapter is second part of first unit, right? It is the first unit itself. In the first unit, we have completed first chapter, electric charges at rest. Next, we are going to start with electric potential and capacitance, which is very, very important and very much application based, right? Solve the problems. If you have doubts, ask me doubts on my mobile number. Okay, my mobile number 94497236686. This is also my WhatsApp number. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.